So, Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you to another engaging week of daily wisdom from Bhagavad Gita sessions. We have been talking about the topic of Guru for the last 1 week, and now we are going to transition over to the next shloka. Sequentially is what we have been progressing. So, again, a very warm welcome to all of you. Let's get started by invoking the blessings God and Guru, like we always do. So I'm going to share my screen and we will get underway. Able to see my screen?
Yes, Nitin.
Okay, all right. So we'll start with our opening prayers. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Okay, so let's get started. See, if there is any important word that gets drowned in my voice today, you can always ask me to repeat it. Okay. Luckily, it's not a song competition that I'm participating in today, so you'll be able to make out most of what I'm going to talk about. But a bit of cold, if something gets drowned in that, ask me to repeat it. Because I can myself, when I hearing myself, it's like, okay, something is missing. So let's get started. Today we are on Shloka 4.35. After that Guru Shloka that we spent a good week on, more than a week, in fact. We went really deep into that topic. Now let's move on to the next shloka in sequence. 4.35. I'm going to recite it and then you're welcome to follow along. Yagyatva na punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutanyasheshena drakshasyatmanyatho mai. Okay, let's take a few hands.
I'll go ahead.
Yeah, sure.
यज्ञात्वा न पुनर्मोहम् एवं यास्यसि पाण्डव येन भूतान्यशेषेण द्रक्ष्यस्यात्मन्यथो मयि.
Great. Thank you, Sandhya. Anybody else? All right.
Shri
Clear.
Ramnathji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Yitnana punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutanya nyasheshena rakshasyatmanyato mayi. Thank you.
Thank you, Shiramya.
Okay, Riya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Riya ji.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
यज्ञात्वा न पुनर्मोहम् एवं यास्यसि पाण्डव येन भूतान्यशेषेण द्रक्ष्यस्यात्मन्यतो मयि.
Thank you, Riya
Thank
ji.
you.
Thank you. So let's get started then. So in this shloka, this is immediately after the 4.34 that we spent a good amount of time on the importance of a mentor in the material world and more so in the spiritual world. What is the significance of having a guru on the path of spirituality? And then we went really deep into the topic to understand the science of guru discipleship. What are the qualifications of a guru? How do you find a true guru? What are the symptoms, some of the symptoms you can employ to see whether you're building that connect and stuff like that, right? So the true guru, like our scriptures, Mundaka Upanishad says, they need to have two qualifications. They need to be Shrotriya Shrotri means theoretically well versed, so that they can refer to scriptures and explain why they are saying something. Not because I'm saying so, so take it on the face value. They should be able to pull it out from the depths of our scriptures. And secondly, more importantly, they need to be practically realized, because if there are theoretical people, anybody can become a scholar by reading stuff. But if they are not practically realized, then that depth will not come. A person who has practical experience, the weightage their words would carry and how it will touch your heart would vary, as opposed to somebody who's merely a scholarly person. Okay. Now, in this shloka, Lord Krishna goes on to add and then says, following this path and having achieved enlightenment from a guru. Previously, he said, Tad vidhi pranipaten pariprashnena seveya updekshanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadarshina. That approach a spiritual master, render service unto him with humility, reverence, and then he will enable you to progress spiritually. Then he says, when you follow this path, and having achieved enlightenment from a guru, oh Arjun, you will no longer fall into delusion. So he's basically telling you, when you become enlightened, what happens. Okay. In the light of that knowledge, you will see that all living beings are but parts of the Supreme and are within me. So we're going to spend a good amount of time on this. Guru, and what is the stage before enlightenment that we all are currently experiencing? We'll talk about that as well. So let's get started. Welcome again to everyone to another fascinating, engaging week of daily wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. And I see a little Arya as well. So welcome, Arya, to the session. So let's start with our soul soup segment. We have a soul soup segment that we begin with, and we are covering a series of success, happiness, and fulfillment. We are all looking for fulfillment, right? Things that we chase thrill, but they do not fulfill. So what are the secrets? We are unlocking those secrets one at a time that will lead us closer to the success that we all seek, the happiness, joy, peace, bliss that we all are seeking, and of course, the fulfillment in our life. So let's get started on this one. What is there today? How do we inspire ourselves spiritually? Last week we spoke about, just give me a sec. We spoke about two kinds of motivations, internal and external. So when we make our motivation a function of external factors, then it is not lasting. Then you need somebody to inspire you, somebody to praise you, something good clicking, and then only you will be successful. But when you are internally motivated, you hold the key to your, inspiring yourself. Now, today we are going to talk about how do we inspire ourselves spiritually. It's important. That's why we are here, right? Spirituality does mean something for us. We think it is important dimension that we need to add in life. And that is where we will talk about what do we need to do to inspire ourselves spiritually. So here you see, it's like, you roll this thing in a casino and something comes very rarely, where you get, your money becomes 40 times or something like that. I have hit that spot very close by, not the exact spot, when I went to Vegas so many years back. So it's like hitting a jackpot, right? It doesn't happen frequently. So what is it doing here? Basically, Ramayana says, Kabahuk kari karuna nardehi detav isha binu hetu sanehi. Ramayana says that golden chance is passing away. This human life is very precious. It's not like you will get it or you can take it for granted. After 8.4 million, you get this golden opportunity to make a difference. So when we understand that, we have, one shot, not one shot, but we have gotten a shot after a long time and we should make the most use of it, then automatically the inspiration for spiritual progress would become a priority. Right now, we think dekha jayega, hoga, who has seen life after death and all that stuff. But when you truly understand that life is an examination and death is life is a preparation and death is an examination, and where only thing that would count is how much delta you have moved from your, previous human birth, then the inspiration to grow spiritually would automatically come. So if you look at it, our mind, it plays tricks. Sometimes it is in sattvic mode. So what basically, laziness is something that is the biggest impediment for us in the path of spirituality, right? Why does that laziness come? There's a technical reason for it, because our mind is made up of three gunas. Material, it is material. So it's made up of three gunas. So sometimes when you are in sattvic mode, you think, I'm so blessed to have a human form and I must make the most of it. Let me apply myself to discipline, sadhana, and devotion. However, the moment it becomes a rajasic, then you will say, I must practice sadhana, but what is the hurry? We have a World Cup match. Let it pass by, and then, sadhana can wait. So then you fall into those kind of traps, or you say, okay, let me meet the friend that I've always wanted to meet, or that party, what's the big deal that I'm going to miss out on? And when it goes to tamasic mode, then you get into the next, let me look at the next Netflix flick. Okay, that series, web series, oh, people have been talking about, and I'm going to do a binge watching on that. So that becomes our intoxication as an escapist route for some stress that you've been feeling, right? So our mind continues to play tricks. But the way people who are focused and disciplined, they are able to bring in this knowledge. It's like you are sitting in an exam, you don't let your mind wander in that case. This is make or break time for me, and you bring in the complete power of concentration, knowing that this time is important. And so people who understand that human life is a gift, you cannot take it for granted, they are able to prioritize it. Even Kenu Upanishad says that human birth is a rare opportunity. If you do not utilize it to achieve your goal, you will suffer great ruin. Kathopanishad says if you do not strive for God realization in this life, you will be stuck in the cycle of life and death in many births. Bhagavatam says in human works, one should not undertake great hardship to enjoy sensual pleasures like even animals do. Animals do not have the intellect. They are scripted. They will go for eating, meat, mating, sleeping, and defending because they are scripted to do that. But as humans, we are required to do more because we are endowed with more. It's like Spider-Man. Somebody who's given more power is more responsibilities expected out of them as well. And then Chanakya had said as well that the biggest loss, a colossal misfortune, the darkest illusion, and the grossest ignorance is that moment of in life which is not used wisely in the loving remembrance of God, Lord Krishna, basically. So, anyways, hope it gives you enough arsenal to know why spirituality is important and why we should make it a priority in life and not make it a retirement plan. It should be an ongoing plan to enrich our life, not something that you will do after the fact when you retire, because nobody knows when our exit from this world is, right? The very fact that we wake up, I don't know how many billion people don't even wake up, and there is no guarantee whether we'll wake up or not as well. Right? So we need to continue to inspire ourselves spiritually. Now let's move on to our shloka. By the way, today was the match, a lot of heartbreak for a lot of people today. So I was reflecting on what could be you think about it, right? What is the key learnings out of this? So one of the things I think that came out of this whole episode, of course, on paper, Indian team was much better than Australia, but they were able to hold the nerve much better, and they had that big match temperament. One of the things that came out was, they prepared because host country has an advantage, right? They can make pitches which will suit them. So they focused on opposition's weaknesses as opposed to their own strengths. So they had a choice to pick up one of the tracks. One was a red soil, freshly laid track, a more even sporting track where the better team would have prevailed, or pick up a used wicket, slower in nature, which could have given their spinners a little more advantage, who were better than the Australian team. They went with that because the other team was weak. And as the luck would have it, it backfired on them big time, right? So rather than focusing on your strengths, they went with the weaknesses aspect of it. And so, anyways, but yeah, it was an interesting match. Notwithstanding the fact they lost the last match, they played really well, and it's probably the best team in the generations that India has afforded. So it was a great tournament that they had. Now let's move on to Bhagavad Gita 4.35. Let's start with a light, right? So there was a guy, his name was Vishnu Dutt. So Vishnu Dutt, not no, there was a guy. Yeah, so I don't know what his name was. So somebody enters his room, he's sitting on the third floor, and he says, Vishnu Dutt, your daughter passed away. So Vishnu Dutt, your daughter passed away. So he listens to that, and in the panic, he jumps from the window where he's sitting. So while he's passing to the third floor, all of a sudden it comes to his mind that his name is not Vishnudat. Then when he's passing the second floor, he remembers, he doesn't have a daughter. And while he's about to fall, he remembers he's not even married. Now there's another guy. He meets one of his friends and he says, "Hey, Shivdat, your wife has become a widow." And here is Shivdat. He starts crying too. So what's going on in both these examples? Anybody? So he says, "Your wife has become a widow," and the guy on listening this starts crying. He has a breakdown, big time breakdowns. But there is a commonality between what's happening in both the cases. Anybody? Yes.
Shivamaji.
That is simply believing and going by what others are telling without knowing their own position.
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit of an ignorance, right? The reaction more than
Response.
more than thinking through what's going on, right? How can your wife become a widow when you are there and you start crying, right? How can you participate? I mean, so it's kind of a joke, right? Yes, Pooja ji, please go ahead.
Yes, Radhe Radhe Pooja ji.
Radhe Radhe Sandhya ji, Radhe Radhe Nitin ji. Not thinking before reacting, basically.
True. It's like you're not thinking what you're doing, basically. You are ignorant in that sense, right? And in that sense, if you think about it, you may be laughing at this joke. But saints and God-realized people, they also think the same way. What are we guys doing? What are we guys worried about? And the things that we get stuck in, because it is purely born out of ignorance. Okay, we'll talk about this. We'll build on this topic now. It is all born out of ignorance. What we are doing in this life is something similar to what is these people are doing. Okay, it was more as a joke I presented, but the fact is we are doing the same thing. How we will understand? Let's look at it now. Somebody is driving a Tesla and somebody says, "Hey, who are you?" He said, "I'm Tesla." Somebody is driving a Mercedes. You say, "Who are you?" "I'm a Mercedes." Somebody is driving a BMW. "I'm a BMW." So how would you feel if somebody says that? You laugh at him, right? Similarly, saints also laugh at us when we say, "I'm a Bengali, Gujarati, Indian, American, Mexican, etc." Or for that matter, "I'm a Brahmin, I'm a Kshatriya, I'm a this, that, right? Or I'm a manager, I'm a programmer, I'm a scientist, I'm a director, etc." These are all designations related to our body, and that is not a true identity. That is where the premise or the Bhagavad Gita starts. Know thyself, right? Socrates also said that. Bhagavad Gita starts with the understanding, first get to know yourself. And even the Vedanta Sutra, in the Vedanta Sutra, even Vedavyas has pointed that, the ignorance, ajnana mevasya mool karanam, ignorance is the biggest cause of all the problems that we face in life. So the problem starts happening when we don't even know ourselves and we start making sense of the world around us, including the Indian cricket team, right? Where did they are, or what is the problem going on in life, or this should you do like that? Then we analyze people, then we pass judgment on them. We don't even know ourselves. We don't even know our mind. We don't even know who we truly are, right? We know, but we don't believe. So Bhagavad Gita starts with get to know yourself first. Who are you? So now the question is, will this ignorance go away after we become high schoolers? See, we go through an education process. We all have come here as professionals to US. We're working here. So, of course, we have done some serious studying at some point in our life. So, whether by becoming high schooler, getting good grades, or graduates, or postgraduates, or PhDs, will this ignorance go away? It will not. It will not. No matter how much material study you do, you will not be able to, because it is incapable of presenting us with the tools and techniques needed to understand our true self and be able to understand how do we work on our true self, or how do we provide food to our true self. It's like a parrot in a cage, or a parrot in a cage, where the whole focus of its life is focused on how to embellish the cage or decorate the cage without really knowing what the parrot needs. So if you got a parrot in a cage and you are taking care of the cage only, which is our body or our bodily associates or the relations that we think about, without truly knowing what is the food for the parrot inside, then of course all the endeavors that we make will count for nothing at the end of our life. And this knowledge that we are talking about, or this ignorance that we are talking about, cannot be dispelled just like that. Okay. Does Harvard, Stanford, or MIT offer a course which tells, hey, this will enable you to know about yourself and to become the best version of yourself through some kind of a spiritual technology? Nobody offers that course. Okay. Now, why am I talking about this? You might be wondering, right? When I don't know why I'm talking about it, but I'll try to make sense out of it. So here is our house, right? People love house. They always have a dream house in mind. And especially in America, there's a concept of American dream, right? Everybody needs to have a house, car, and a good job here. Then car. People love to have the latest car, whichever is coming. They want to own that. And some people have a fancy for cars as well. Money, of course, in Kali Yuga, in this particular era, this is a secret stash for most of the people. Okay. The money aspect, it's very difficult for people to part with money. And that is why one of the injunctions, scriptural injunctions, appropriate for our times is dhan. Right? Brahmaji had given an injunction that for people in Mrityulok, dhan is the biggest thing, because that will be very purifying, because that's something we hold dear to our chest. Even when we are dying, we cannot let go of money. And that's a different matter. It keeps on getting passed on from generation to generation, but we find it very difficult. Then, what else is there? We have children, spouse, relations we're talking about, parents. Now, finding happiness in material thing, that becomes our mindset. And we have taken that resolve in the back of our mind. Our intellect tells these things, or one of these things, or a combination of these things is finally going to give us happiness. This is the hallucination our intellect has created for us, because of which we keep repeating here. Scriptures tell us that material things, you are divine, you need something more deep. Material things do not have an ability to give you the happiness that your soul is seeking. It is like trying to extract butter out of lime water. Although it looks white, but it does not have the ability to actually give you the butter or the cream. So this hallucination has to be dismantled systematically. And that is where that ignorance, dispelling ignorance aspect comes in. So this is the thing. All of us have a combination or one of these things, or maybe a little more, but something material. It could be fame, it could be prestige, it could be a profession, it could be a drive to excel at whatever you are doing. It is material only. The point is, scriptures are making very vehemently and repeating it in multiple scriptures is that they do not have the ability to give you happiness. Okay, and even your relatives, parents, children, if you think they're going to give you happiness, it's like a beggar going to another beggar and asking for money. They don't have, nobody has that ability. Okay. They're themselves seeking happiness. They're seeking from you, you're seeking from them. It's all transactional. Okay. Because they're seeking their happiness. And as long as you are fulfilling their happiness, the relationship will continue going. The moment that balance starts shifting, or they're not offered to give you the happiness that you thought they should give you, the relationship will start crumbling. This is how the world is designed. Okay. Because everybody's selfish. It may be hard to hear that, but that's a fact. All the relationships in this world are transactional because we are all seeking our self-interest. But mother-child relationship is a little special, and it comes to as close to perfection as a material relationship can come, because it's an umbilical cord relationship. But even that is not perfect. There is a sense of entitlement. I am mother, so I demand this from you, or I need this from you. That is very sukshma or subtle, but it is still there. Okay, that is the reason why Yashoda Maiya did not get a seat in Maharaj, because she also had a sense of, selfishness, little bit of sukshma is there as well. But these relationship, the bottom line is that finding happiness in material world is impossible. It's not like you can get it if you try hard enough, and that hallucination is created in everybody's mind. They think I have not gotten it, but I know somebody who has gotten it. You go to them, you ask them, have you gotten this? I have not, but I know somebody who has gotten it. But the fact of the matter is, scriptures tell us there's absolutely no happiness in this world, because it is something which is finite, which will become stale over time, and then it will be not be everlasting. It will come and it will go away. There'll be a level of impermanence related to it as well. And spiritual happiness is something which is infinite, which is ever fresh. It's not like listening to a Bollywood song. First time you loved it, second time little bit, and then third time you, over a period of time, the diminishing returns kicks in, right? You can't watch the same movie time and again. You go and laugh at the same joke again and again. But spiritual happiness, it keeps on increasing with time. Now, this dismantlement of, let's talk about it. The other aspect of ignorance is when we talk about my job, my spouse, my house, right? All these things that we talk about, my kids, my family, all these things, these are mine. This is another aspect. It is more astonishing where we think that these things are mine. Now, if these things were truly yours, they should accompany you when you leave this life as well. Does anybody accompany you? Nobody did. It's like you have seen the ocean waves. Two waves will rise. Now, those waves, they don't have a relationship to each other, right? And then finally they merge back. So those waves have a relationship with the sea, not with each other. So they rise and then they go back to the sea. They rise and they go back to the sea. Similarly, all these things that come to our life, including relationships, are like those waves. And then we start considering them as mind. That is the second astonishing part because of ignorance that happens. First of all, we start seeking happiness in impermanent material things. Then we start considering things as mine, which are not mine. Sambandhi or a relative. In English, they call it relative, right? Sambandhi. We'll talk about that. Are they truly your sambandhis, or are they like those railway passengers who are sitting in a bogie and then they'll get off the moment their station would come? They are all boarding the train along with you with their own exit ticket. They are not truly your sambandhis. Okay. Nobody has any clue where, their father, forefather, or their, previous generation people are. And if they were to know that, and that is also consciously the design of the world by God, that he makes us forget. Otherwise, what are we going to do? This world will come to a standstill. There's so many complications that can happen, right? If you know, my God, he was my friend or my wife or my spouse, and all that complication can understand, right? How it can happen. So the point here is nobody is mine. Everybody are on their own journey. And after life, there is one company we get. Two companies, in fact. We'll talk about that. So this is another astonishing part where we consider things as mind, where we don't have any control over them. Anything can be snatched away from us in a moment. We don't have anybody who can accompany us after life as well. And then our scriptures tell us, you see the flight of these two birds? So this scripture says basically, Mundakopanishad, Dwa Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya Samanam Vriksham. There are two birds who are perched, associated in a pair. Now, when I talk about pair, they are always together. Okay, this is our Sambandhi. Now, who are these two birds? The first one eats and tastes the fruit, and the second one does not eat, but just looks on and gives the fruit. So the first one who eats and tastes the fruit is us, the soul, and the second one is Paramatma, God himself. He's our true Sambandhi. So whether you become a mice, dog, donkey, or maybe a Gandharv or Indra, whatever you become in material world, he has to accompany you. He's always accompanying you. He's always your witness. So that is our true Sambandhi. And why we don't have that understanding? We need to awaken our true self, right? That is why spirituality and that technology comes in. The guru will explain us, first of all, these concepts that, hey, by the way, you have gotten this whole equation wrong. Then he will tell you, how do you get to the realization of who you are and your association or relationship with God? And then what is the technology to purify ourselves so that you can perceive him like we perceive each other, right? We are able to see each other. Scripture says you can see God like that as well. He's there, but you cannot see right now. And they tell you the technology, how to see them as we see each other. All that is enabled to us by Guru. And this shloka says once we become enlightened, then there is no going back. It's not like you become enlightened and then you're back into darkness. It doesn't work like that. For example, we've spoken about there's a darkness and then there is light. You can have light come through darkness, but so light can overpower darkness. But darkness cannot overpower light. So once you are enlightened, you are permanently enlightened. Now, there are different stages of enlightenment, right? We talk about moksha and then the different milestones on the bhakti side. That's a topic in itself. But the point is, once you are enlightened, after you have met a spiritual guru and you have worked your way through that, then there is no looking back. You are beyond the cycle of death, life and death. You could come back as a Jivan Mukt person. That means you are beyond Maya. Why have you come back? You have come back maybe as a service to God, as a saint to help others out. And that's pretty much it. You're not obliged to come back anymore at that point. Like there was a New York beggar. So once he hit a jackpot, I don't know, American Lotto or something. So of course, once he hit a jackpot, he's no longer a beggar. And then one of the days after a few years, now he has become a rich man, big businessman. And he sees so what he did was, he kept his tethered clothes that he used to wear when he was a beggar, and he had put it in his closet, just as a memory. So after a few years, he opens his closet and looks at those tethered clothes. When he sees those clothes, it reminded him of those times, when he used to beg. So he wears those clothes and goes and sits in metro station again, asking for money. So he used to ask for money previously as well. And today also he's asking for money. What is the difference? His consciousness has changed. He's no longer worried about where the next meal is going to come, if he gets money or doesn't, because he has already hit the jackpot. Similarly, once we have enlightened, even though you may come here as a saint, people may say, oh my God, they're suffering and this is happening and that is happening. They are beyond it. Jivan Mukh people, they are beyond it. It's like those X-Men. You won't know who they are, but they have risen above the dualities of life and they are no longer obligated to be, bogged down with the imperfections of this Mike world, because they have transcended the cycle of life and death at that point. With that, I'll take a quick pause. Any questions on what we have discussed? I know we have discussed a lot of stuff. I've been talking non-stop, so.
There is a comment from Shweta ji.
Yeah.
Only your karmas, desires, and sadhana go with you when you leave this world, I think. Also, Paramatma goes with you.
There are two things that go with you. From an entity standpoint, let's understand this. What goes with us? It's like when you're boarding a flight, they don't let you go take liquid bottles and stuff like that, right? If it's beyond a certain. Similarly, when we go from this life, we shed this gross body. Only thing that is permissible is our subtle body. That is what our state of the mind. So gross body stays here. Our sukshma sharir, karan sharir, that goes along with us. That's a baggage for the soul. And the soul is energized by super soul. That also goes with you. And third entity, that relationship that you have established is with the Guru. Now, Guru, that relationship is also carried forward. So whenever you come back as a human, Guru will not leave your hand. Either if it coincides with his avatar kal or her avatar kal, sure. If it doesn't, then they will send somebody so that message is seamless and it immediately connects with your heart. So that journey continues. So true sambandhi, if you look at it, or true relative, is one is God, second is Guru. Everybody else is temporary relationship and for a very short duration in every lifetime. That is how it goes. Yes, Kumarji.
Yes, Radhe Radhe Kumarji.
Radhe Radhe Kumarji.
Jai Shri Ram. So my observation, when you said that the closest to selflessness, which comes is from the mother, I had an observation just wanted to share.
Sure.
Mothers will never take anything from others that their children is bad. They will never accept it, whether good or bad, right? Basically, even a killer's mother will not accept that he's a killer or she's a killer,
Yeah.
right? And even from the father, right? Nothing, they will not accept anything bad, even if the father says so. So just an observation.
True.
Jai Shri Ram.
True. Yes, very true. They will not. So the topic that we are discussing is we have to think in it's a sukshma or more detail, more depth we have to think about it, right? First time you hear, oh my God, somebody tells you are selfish or the relationships are selfish, and how can you say that? But you just think deeply about it, you'll understand it.
True. Yeah, we are all selfish
Selfish.
and we work only for our happiness. Yes.
It's meant to be transactional. See,
Right.
the reason the worldly relationships are sustained is because people use their wisdom and intellect to maintain that delicate balance. But wherever that balance will shift, whether it's between husband and wife, whether it's between brother and sister, whether it's with mother, father, anybody, you will see some kind of friction developing in. And it is very natural. Okay. And that is how it's meant to be as well, because we haven't yet attained that perfect bliss as yet, and we will continue to be selfish until that point. We will continue to work for our happiness. Even when we say we are selfless, actually we are doing our seva only. So we don't have that ability as yet. But the problem is we are selfish from a material standpoint. If we become selfish from a spiritual standpoint, we become selfish for our soul, then the job will be done. We are selfish from a material standpoint. Actually thinking, look at it. Every relationship gives us an opportunity to adorn or deepen the gains that a soul can have, but we limit it to at a material level only. And that is where the
So
problem.
if we become selfish at a spiritual level, probably we become selfless at a material level.
Yeah, it's a deeper topic and discussion around it. Yes.
Sure.
Because
Thank you. Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram, thank you. But yeah, the point here is that all the spiritual virtues, the Devic Gun, so to say, whichever one we subscribe to, one can transform our life. Whether it is ahimsa, non-violence, whether it is speaking truth, whether it is letting go or forgiving, whether it is trying to manage your emotions better. One thing you pick up in life, that itself is good enough to bring about a transformative effect in our lives. That is how powerful it is. And it is said that if you pick up one Devic good, there are, I think in 16.3, Lord Krishna has spoken about maybe 20 plus. And then he's spoken about demonic gunas as well. You pick one. The beauty of picking even one guna is that it comes like a pack of noodles. You pick one, others will come along. It's not possible that you are subscribing to speaking truth, but on the other hand, your anger is increasing or you are becoming dishonest. So everything will follow along. That is the beauty of this thing. You pick one thing, it can have a transformative effect. Yes, Falguni ji.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe Falguni ji.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe Nitinji. This is in relation to what just now, just what Kumarji had said, that the parent, a father or a mother will never, admit that the child is bad, even if he kills someone and so on. So my question here is that as a parent, isn't it our duty that we have to guide our children on the right path? I mean, isn't this a kind of a blind? I don't know. I'm a little confused by this statement.
Yeah,
It doesn't make much
we are
sense
going.
to me.
Yeah, I get that. So now I think we are going a tangent from the topic. What is a duty as a parent, as opposed to whether our relationship around is tainted with our self-interest and all that stuff that we're talking about, right? So yeah, the other one is through self-interest, because we have our attachment, right, to those physical beings. We don't want to see them in bad light. But as a good parent, of course, you don't want things to be inconvenient. You want things which are beneficial. A spiritually awakened person does not go for things which are appealing to their mind. They go for things which are truly uplifting. So when it comes to even what do you call that, correcting their kids, they will choose the hard path. They don't let their kids play or have a lot of sugar candies, right? Even though they might be
Right.
asking because they
Yeah,
came
right.
for their benefit, not so much for their pleasure, temporary pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's our duty actually to do that as well. Because if you don't raise good kids and if you don't make them spiritually aware, we've not done a good job. Because God has entered into a contract and a partnership with us to bring forth a new life and nurture it. Right?
Right.
And the best thing a human can do for another human is uplift them spiritually, nothing more. We might think we can do
Exactly.
something else, but that is the
Right.
biggest duty. Now, how can a human uplift somebody else spiritually? They cannot. We don't have the ability unless we have worked on ourselves. So the buck stops at us only. We want our kids to do the best,
Oh,
but we don't want to become the best version of ourselves. That is the irony of our life. Right? We all want our
got
kids
it.
to be the next Shravan Kumar. They should be obedient. They should not do this. The question is, how many of us are willing to invest or bring those virtues in our life to begin with? Because they don't hear to us, they look at us. So anything, whether you go from this path, that path, the buck stops at improving ourselves only. And that includes influencing our kids in the right way as well, or to nurture them, or to make them good human beings as well. We have to work on ourselves only. We cannot expect them to become great human beings if we are not able to become role models for them, right? So that's how it goes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because it's a huge responsibility God has given. Think, He's entrusting a soul's journey into your hands. It's a big deal. If you think about it, it's a big responsibility. And what best can you do for them? The best that you can do for them is to give them a very solid foundation in spirituality so that when life starts throwing curveballs at them, then how do they deal with it? Right? Australian team which won today, they have a very systematic. They're not playing well. Trust me. On paper, India far superior side, but they were just had that self belief that they will come out of any situation. One on one, every person in Indian team was better than them. They could have beaten them 9 out of 10 times with if the conditions, all those factors had not come into play. But what made the difference actually? In fact, their system is they don't blood any junior at all. Like in India, a child prodigy like Tendulkar can come. They're willing to do that. They will not do that. Why? Their system says you play your first class cricket. And if you're scoring a lot of centuries, will not take you. Why? Because life will not continue like scoring centuries. One day you will fail. They will wait for you to fail and then see how you come out of it. Because if you have really developed the nerves of steel or that character, then your ability to rise when the chips are down in life will determine what you are truly capable of. And then people who can come back and retain their own thing, then they're brought into the national team. So they're mentally very, very tough people, very tough people. Look at 130,000 people cheering against them and they just turned them silent. That was a motivation for them that we are going to make them silent today. And they did that very, very meticulously. So it's the same way. None of us is immune to some curveballs in life, including our kids. So the real gift we can give them is to give them an ability to face that with assurance, with confidence, and with keeping this thing sane, as opposed to oh my God, panic and now what has happened, now what to do. If we can actually do that, that could be the best gift, for our kids as well. And for that, again, we have to work on ourselves. We cannot simply wish and it'll happen. So, okay, good discussion. Anybody? Anything else?
Excellent point about parenting. I think we can make a clip out of this.
Yeah, parenting is a topic which fascinates a lot of people, right? And if there is one form of science which you cannot write a perfect book about, is parenting. Because you come up with a rule book and then your plans can go away. So yeah, because each kid is unique, each situation is unique, each context is unique. But one common thing that is there is we can give them a good spiritual foundation, talk about the deeper principles of life as opposed to giving them a rosy picture about life, right? So rather than asking did you win, if we ask them, did you play well, that is more important. Yeah.
Shamji, hand once raised cannot be put down.
Which one?
Shamji had raised his
Oh,
hand.
sorry. Amji, please go ahead. You had a question?
Radhe Radhe. Just wanted to share experience with Swamiji. I had met Swamiji on Friday evening in Gurgaon.
What was your experience?
It was
Tarunji,
a short stay today, but luckily they announced that next morning they will have one to Swamiji, a morning walk and breakfast. So I grabbed it and went in the morning to meet him there. So I had good 2 hours with him. In the morning we had a morning walk, and then we had kitchen room jam, and then we had breakfast with him. So those 2 hours were the best. Out of the blue, they announced suddenly, and I was there. So it was
I'm sure you would
just
have met more people from our session there as well, right? Quite a few familiar faces.
I met Prabhaji there on the evening session in Gurgaon, but in the morning, I guess I was only one lucky out there.
Okay.
So good. So you should not miss meeting Swamiji. You never know when the gates open up and you are there with him for the entire 2 hours, one on one. It was
And
really blissful experience. So please
Yeah,
try.
wonderful. And actually, Tarunji is another one who ended up meeting Swamiji for the first time. And I think, Tarunji, if you would like to share your experience,
yes, Tarunji, how's
raise
it?
your hand.
By the way, you can check Swamiji's India tour, and if he's coming to your city, I think next is Bombay. Please do plan to meet him. So that makes a lot of difference.
Next is Pune. He's going there tomorrow, I guess.
And you can ask questions informally to him, and it's very accessible too. So,
Yes,
Tarunji,
it
there,
was a perfect my breakfast with him. You can't imagine how I felt. And I do not know what made him say so, but he just announced, please come tomorrow morning.
oh, very nice, very
It
nice.
was so good to be there in Gurgaon.
Divine
That's,
inspiration.
Oh, that's
yes.
very nice. Good to hear that, Swamiji.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Radhe, Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Yes, so many more people in India have the opportunity to make beautiful memories with Swamiji. And I think meeting in person is not at all comparable to anything else. So do not miss out on that chance.
Yeah,
I've already shared the link in the schedule in the chat. I will reshare it. So please check that out and do not miss on meeting him when he's in your city.
yeah, and just to give you a perspective, it's only through his blessings that we are able to have this session every day. We've been doing it for the past 3 years. It seemed like a humongous task, like scaling Mount Everest, but now it's happening, by God and Guru's grace every day. In fact, one of those things that you look forward to in your routine every day. It's all because of his blessings and this platform that he has enabled. And we refer to his book as a reference for all the examples, analogies, and even the commentary that he has so beautifully to the point and logically documented in that book. Okay, any more questions or we want to? And by the way, let's post the feedback tracker. If you have any questions, you get an opportunity, put it out on the feedback tracker. I'll be more than happy to bring those questions to the session and have a good discussion. If you want to have an offline conversation, still put it in the feedback tracker. I'll be more than happy to discuss anything that you may have on your mind.
And as we were discussing in the beginning of the session, no question is a silly question. So feel free to ask and discuss. What you ask might actually end up helping many others who may not have spoken themselves.
Right. No question is a silly question, because if that was the case, I should not have been talking for most part of my life. Okay, I've asked so many questions. Keep on asking even now. So please feel free.
Right. And another announcement is about Tulsi Vivaah. So we will have the grand wedding of Shri Krishna with Tulsi Maiya on December 1st and 2nd. It will have everything that you imagine happens in a wedding. So that will be at the Radha Krishna temple. I have already posted the links for that. So check that out. And it will also be broadcasted online. So those who have never attended the wedding of Shri Krishna and Tulsi Maiya, you have a chance to do so. So stay tuned. And you can register online. It's free registration, but that helps in keeping the track of people who are interested.
And the best part of Tulsi Vivaah is that you get a choice to participate either from boys' side or girls' side. Okay, you have a choice, complete freedom.
Ladki wale or ladke wale. Awesome. So should we share the scoreboard, Nitinji?
Sure. And then you have, if you're fond of dancing, contact Monica ji if you're a local in Dallas, right?
Right. Okay. So we have Seva teams. I think just briefly, Kumarji has raised his hand. Should we first?
Real quick.
Yes, Radhe Kumarji.
Jai Shri Ram, everyone. So On the parenting, of course, it's slightly tangent, but just want to also include this. Like Nitinji said, the kids follow by example, right? What they see. For example, you say, oh, you have to keep the city clean, and then if you spit on the streets, what is your child going to do, right? They're going to follow what they see, not what you say. This came as an example to me. My daughter, I told her, always tell the truth. That's the best thing to do, even though I was not doing that always. So I went to a restaurant and then I ordered a child meal because she used to eat very little. So I didn't want the restaurant to charge me more. So I said, she's good only for a child meal now. So I told her, okay, child meal. But she said, Dad, I'm not that age. And I'm like, keep quiet, keep quiet. But that guy kind of made me feel that, okay, you know what? I'm not doing the right thing for just a few dollars. I was like, not giving the right example to my children. The other thing which I want to see is like, when one of my kids started eating meat because of um, his friends and all that stuff, he wants to be in tune with his friends, even though they used to go to Chinmaya mission, all that stuff, but somehow he got that, and I was very much pained by it. Like, I said, what happens if my mom knows about it? What happens? Like, I had so many questions, and then I had to do this. I said, you know what, they are a spiritual soul. I'm a spiritual soul. It's like, for some reason we have come together in this life, but they are a separate soul. So they will do it as per the samskar. So teach them the best, and then you have to leave. So that, because that is what would give us peace of mind, not to get attached to what they are doing and fussing about it. Thank you. Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you, Kumarji. Teach them the best and leave to God the rest. Very true. So yes, go ahead, Sandhya. We can share the Seva scores today and then can move on to our next segment.
Right. So just to remind everybody, we have 4 Seva teams. And Seva is an acronym actually that is created out of selfless, enthusiastic, Vinamra, and Ananya. So we have 4 teams led by very able team leads, and they have been doing amazing Seva all throughout the week, and these are the scores that they have only for the last week. So cheers to everyone at first. And enthusiastic is again at the top with a score of like around 150,000, which is wow. And then yes, then Ananya, selfless, Vinamra, very glad that everybody is showing up. So every people from all the 4 teams are filling up their scores. And as we all know, Kahoot is really making these go skyrocketing high, which is nice.
Kahoot, I wanted to say, I think there is more demand for the
individual one.
So
I agree. Yeah, makes sense. But that's fine. Like this, that will not affect this.
Yeah, that will not affect this. You can still log in your score. So we'll revert switch back to the individual one.
Yeah, I mean, I also agree. I think because when you see those individual names going up, down, that creates more of a thrill.
Okay, on the Seva team.
Yeah, so here
congratulations for all the hard work that you continue to do that, and for even for the benefit of other participants, we have these 4 teams. If you feel inspired, see, the Seva that they get involved is depending upon what you bring to the table, and if you want to get involved in some day-to-day Seva, we have 4 teams. We can certainly facilitate that process for you. It could be as simple as creating a content, participating in ongoing events, like shares, comments, video churning, and stuff like that. And
or co-hosting in classes.
Co-hosting in classes in whatever way you want to. So this is just a way, for to give it back from what we have received. And when we do Seva, it's a very integral part of our spiritual journey. So I would strongly encourage you to join any of the teams. We have our captains who are always lobbying here. 2 of them are on the screen. So one of them is raising hand, one is folding hands probably. If you want to do that, please do that. Don't lose out on this opportunity. And they do exciting projects from time to time. If you go to our, channel or the portal, you'll see some of the outstanding presentations, creative presentations that they have done. And it's fun actually. It revives our college life, I would say, or when we used to do projects together. But it's more directed towards Seva. So check it out as well. And if you want to join, put it in the feedback tracker. We'll facilitate that process for you.
And right, and those presentations were made in very short span of time. So excellent job by all the teams, always. Okay, and just wanted to point out a few names that I see here, like Prabhat Bhaiya, Shyamji, Komalji, Kavita, Urf Chikki, Sairamji. Anita ji is back now in Reckoning since past 2 weeks, so which is nice. Manish ji, Urvi, Monica ji. So yeah, Swati ji, Rahul ji, Sam ji. Awesome. Even Shashank. Yeah, Michelle ji. So many people. Pallavi ji, which is great.
Wonderful. Kudos to all of you. And great that you are pulling in your weight for your respective teams. So keep up the good work.
Yes,
Okay, so
awesome.
with that, I think so we'll continue. I think this shloka would require one more session maybe, and then we'll continue on our journey. So
Do we move to, okay, there's a question or comment. Oh, question from Pratyusha ji. I'll just read it out. We are not the material things we accumulate. What should we strive for in life? Because good and bad deeds are also karmic in nature and are accumulative. How do we know our real nature, as we are naturally accumulating something or the other all the time through our actions? Is there a step-by-step process?
yeah, Pratyusha can talk more. So yes, good and bad both are bad because both are minding. So you have to go beyond goodness. Beyond goodness is gunatit or shuddha sattva. That is where you bring in the consciousness of God in your day-to-day action. So no work, no action, no thought is secular. That it becomes a devotional at that point. Right? It could be a simple act, like I always keep on giving the same example. You could be giving food to somebody, right? It's the act is to give food to somebody. Now you could be giving food to belittle somebody that how great I am and how bad you are. If you're doing that, is called tamasic action. You could be doing it with a rajasic, that you want to show the world how nice and philanthropic you are and charitable you are. Then you are doing it with a rajasic deed. You might be doing it with a good intention of helping somebody because you really care for somebody who's hungry. Then you are doing it with a sattvic intention. Sattvic intention means you really want to help that person, but that pride of I did it is still there, so it becomes sattvic. But when you do and then thank God and say thank you God for giving me this opportunity and making me an instrument to help get this person help, then it becomes shuddha sattva. It becomes non-binding at that point. So regardless of what you are doing, when you start doing it for the keeping the big picture in mind, for the pleasure of God or keeping him in the equation, I want to earn more so that I can give more. I want to do well so that it's pleasing to God, so that when I realize my potential, it will be very pleasing to him. So anything and everything can be dovetailed towards God consciousness. Then it goes beyond good. Okay, if you have any particular question regarding it, I am happy to talk to you on this one. But yeah, good question.
I guess that's it. Should we move on to the devotional
Okay,
segment?
with that, we move to our devotional segment. We'll spend a few minutes, try to wrap it up before 10 today. And let's see who all, I think, Sandhya, you had put in your feedback tracker to sync. Is there anybody else? We can take 3 hands, not more than that, so that we wrap it up by no later than 10:10 today. Go ahead,
Okay.
Sandhya. I think it's
Okay. Start.
you are the lone warrior today. So this is the final segment we have where we chant, take God's names or any bhajan you want to bring to the fore, and typically 2 to 3 minutes for everybody. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. This is a bhajan on Guru. And the meaning is there, so you can read it. I'll try to sing it. Okay. गुरुदेव शरण में आई, अब तो लो ही अपनाई। गुरुदेव शरण में आई, अब तो लो मोहि अपनाई, कछु भेंट संग नहीं लाई, खाली झोली ले आई, असुवन माला ले आई, दो बिगड़ी मोरी बनाई, मोहि भुक्ति मुक्ति नहीं भाई, जहाँ युगल चरण शरणाई, लख 84 चली आई, कहूँ पल हूँ काल नहीं पाई, माया ने हरि बिसराई, गुरुवर ने याद दिलाई, गुरुदेव शरण में आई, अब तो लो मोहि अपनाई, भव सागर थाह न पाई, गुरु ने भव सिंधु सुखाई, जग जनमी जनमी दुख पाई, अब गुरु की ले शरनाई, तू जा कृपालु शरनाई, हरि पर खत भुज फैलाई, गुरुदेव शरण में आई, अब तो लो मोहि अपनाई, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे, 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 गुरुदेव शरण में आई, अब तो लो मोहि चरणाई।
Very
Done.
nice. Yeah, it's a beautiful bhajan and very relevant to the topic that we were discussing, that Guru, like God, is our eternal associate across lifetimes. Okay, maybe one more hand we can take. It's a toss-up between, yes, Arunji, please go ahead.
Yes, Tarunji, Radhe Radhe.
Thank
Arun,
you, Radhe Radhe. Radhe
actually,
Radhe.
2 minutes, and Swati ji real quick, then we can cover both.
Sure.
Radhe Radhe. Hope your experience with meeting Swamiji was great.
Yeah. It was really my first experience and awesome divine experience in the divine presence of Swamiji. That was really great. So maybe just few lines on that blessing.
Yeah.
संदेशा आया है, कन्हैया आएंगे, संदेशा आया है, कन्हैया आएंगे, आज बहारें कहती हैं हो, आज बहारें कहती हैं कान्हा आएंगे, संदेशा आया है, कन्हैया आएंगे, संदेशा आया है, कन्हैया आएंगे, अपने भक्तों की प्रभु विनती पे आते, भक्तों की प्रभु विनती पे आते, अपने भक्त का मान बढ़ाते, अपने भक्त का मान बढ़ाते, आज हमारी बारी है हो, आज हमारी बारी है, वो भूल न पाएंगे, संदेशा है, कन्हैया आएंगे, संदेशा आया है, कन्हैया आएंगे, कर्मा की प्रभु विनती पे आए, कर्मा की प्रभु विनती पे आए, नरसी का प्रभु भात भराए, नरसी का प्रभु भात भराए। आज हमारी अर्जी है हो, आज हमारी अर्जी है, कैसे ठुकराएंगे, संदेशा आया है, कन्हैया आएंगे, संदेशा आया है, कन्हैया आएंगे। तुझको पुकार रहे, आओ आओ रसिया, तुझको पुकार रहे, आओ आओ रसिया। सब दुख दूर हुए जब तेरा नाम लिया, सब दुख दूर हुए जब तेरा नाम लिया। संदेशा आया है, कन्हैया आएंगे, संदेशा आया है, कन्हैया आएंगे। जय हो राधे कृष्ण।
जय हो राधे कृष्ण। थैंक यू तरुण जी, ब्यूटीफुल। लेट्स मूव स्वाति जी real quick.
Yes, Radhe Radhe Swati ji.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. I will sing only 4 lines. Last time, whatever I sang in continuation, that only. जयति गुरुवर जयति गिरिधर, दो प्राणन प्यारे। जयति गुरुवर जयति गिरिधर, दो प्राणन प्यारे, दो प्राणन प्यारे। मेरे गुरुवर मेरे गिरिधर, मेरे प्राणन प्यारे। मेरे गुरुवर मेरे गिरिधर, मेरे प्राणन प्यारे। शरण गुरुवर शरण गिरिधर, करहु करुणा प्यारे। शरण गुरुवर शरण गिरिधर, करहु करुणा प्यारे, करहु करुणा प्यारे। जोई गुरुवर सोई गिरिधर, दो एक ही प्यारे। जोई गुरुवर सोई गिरिधर, दो एक ही प्यारे, दो एक ही प्यारे। जयति गुरुवर जयति गिरिधर, दो प्राणन प्यारे। Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Thank you Swati ji, Radhe Radhe, very nice. So 10:08. Okay, I have 2 minutes, but I'll sing for one couple of lines and then we'll wrap it up. I don't know how it'll sound, but I'll try. दीनानाथ मोहे काहे बिसारे, दीनानाथ मोहे काहे बिसारे। हमरी बार मान कस धारे, हमरी बार मान कस धारे। दीनानाथ मोहे काहे बिसारे। Okay, thank you everybody for your wonderful participation and making it an enriching session and for giving me a valuable time of the day. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. we'll continue on this shloka and carry this discussion forward. So Radhe Radhe, good night, good day from my side. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Nitinji, for doing another wonderful session, even while you were having cold. So hats off to you as always. Thank you, everybody, for your participation, and look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Radhe Radhe.
Yeah, tomorrow I think my voice will also cooperate a little more, okay, so that you don't feel so horrible, those filters that are coming out alongside. So
We
thank you.
didn't feel horrible at all, but yeah, we want you to recover fully soon.
It's not a deal breaker. So thank you, everybody. Good night, good day then from my side. Radhe
Yes.
Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.